and you had mentioned that you had an insight, or maybe you can just take us into the story that you shared with me this morning about Bernie Madoff and how you were able to kind of shed some light on that, or could you just bring us into that story?
Yeah, I haven't discussed this much, Nick, so you might be getting an exclusive here. The Madoff disaster and Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme and what ultimately happened is a distressing and sad story. What Bernie Madoff did was totally and utterly inexcusable. He committed a crime. He ran a Ponzi scheme. He admitted to it. I wrote a famous cover story on Bernie Madoff and the Madoffs back in my early days at Traders Magazine. And the headline was, and I still remember it vividly, The Madoff Mystery. And we had a line to the effect, how does he come up with these, outstanding double-digit returns? We just couldn't fathom it. It was a favorable piece to Bernie. And we wrote it about two parts of his business. Well, one part primarily, and really that was his trading business. His trading business, as far as we know, and I assume it to be true, was a legitimate operation. The Ponzi scheme, which emerged from his so-called wealth management, personal finance business, that's where the Ponzi scheme emerged. So we wrote that cover story, and I have a lot of memories of that, and I have a lot of fond memories of the Madoffs, who I admired greatly, and was shocked, like a lot of people, when I read what happened. But maybe that was the great mystery, that he could shock people and fool people into parting with their money. I remember sitting down with Bernie Peter in his meeting room or boardroom doing the interview, and I had my tape on at the time, and we're taking notes. And I remember suddenly turning around and Bernie giving me a strange eye. I had never seen that quizzical look in a person in a long time. He was wondering, what's Byrne going to write about me, But anyway, the story was ready to go to press, Traders Magazine. You can look up the story. So I picked up the phone one day like this. I says, hello, John Byrne. Hey, John, this is Bernie. Yeah, this is Bernie. And he was calling me from, I believe, a golf course in Long Island. And I think he got off his helicopter at the time. So Bernie says, John, are you okay with the story? I says, yeah, it's going to be a great story, Bernie. I just spelled your name right and all that. And I understand this technical stuff. You were talking about algorithms and all these complicated mathematical formulae and everything, and all these returns and so on. Fantastic business, Bernie. Yeah, I just want you to know one thing, John. Don't screw with the story, because we were burnt once by somebody in a media story. And he left it at that. So somebody did apparently write a story about questioning how Madoff was running his business. Our story didn't go down that road. We were a trade publication. I don't think I just knew enough about what he did to even fathom that. And it wasn't our editorial mission, because we were covering professional traders, and Madoff and the Madoffs were friends of our organization. But it was a fascinating time. He went to jail, of course, and is still in jail. I believe he embezzled his Ponzi scheme. I don't know if embezzle is the right word. Over 60 billion from investors. That's a lot of money. There was incredible, extraordinary amount of pain caused to individuals. That was simply inexcusable. And thank goodness the regulators caught up with him. But the after story to me is that more than, I believe, you can look up the records, 70 or more % of the assets that Bernie stole have now been returned to the original investors, and they're still bringing in assets. So many of them are close, if not some of them, to being made whole. So he got 150 years sentence, so that's a lifetime, you know. And the question has often occurred to me, and it's very controversial, and I've had mixed feelings about this. I've often wondered, should Bernie now be released on humanitarian grounds? He's 82, failing health, we understand. There's some personal tragedies in his family with his son and his nephew. More heartache than most of us may experience in our lifetime. However, he's paying the price for what he'd done. Would it be politically and legally expedient? That's a bigger question. If he was released, what sort of a message does it send to mainstream media? Would be all over him. So it's probably never going to happen, but it's worth wondering, you know, is there a point where you say somebody has suffered enough and you're supposed to be generous enough to forgive people? That's what our Judeo-Christian principles, I presume, would lend us to believe. But that's another debate.